Welcome back to First Things First. The Panthers are coming off a 37-26 win over the Bucks Sunday in London. They've won 4 straight games, thanks in large part to Greg Olsen, and the 3-time Pro Bowler and Panthers tight end here with us now. Greg, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate you getting up early and coming in.
Appreciate Nick keeping me in his top 3 there. I was getting a little nervous off camera. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it or not.
I didn't even know you were standing there when I said that.
Some poor tight end got kicked out of that 3.
Let me put you back in that situation with Jason Witten. They're in zero coverage. What do you have to run as a tight end?
When we get down there, I love when they give me what we call choice routes. I can go in, I can go off leverage. He's inside leverage, I can run at him, run to the back pylon. He's outside leverage, I can run at his outside shoulder, cross face right in front of the quarterback. Like you said, give him some options, give him some space. Zero coverage, Greg Williams, that's his hallmark, right? You got to expect that down there, and they came up short.
Sorry, go ahead.
I like it. Well, because you're leading me into the question. I mean, his 13th season in the NFL. We can already tell your NFL and football IQ on the field, which is probably a big reason why. But the longevity of your career, how do you continue performing at the level that we see here from you this season?
I've gotten a lot smarter. I wish I knew when I was a rookie and running and didn't have to warm up or stretch or do anything. I wish I knew then what I know now, first and foremost. But I still enjoy the offseason. You know, a lot of older guys don't go around OTAs anymore. They don't do mini camp. They don't do training camp. I still enjoy practicing. I still get my reps in the offseason in the spring. I do a full slate of training camp outside of a couple vet days here and there. Practice, as long as I'm healthy, practice all week during the season. I enjoy the preparation aspect
is important, Nick.
Yeah, I enjoy that aspect of the game. And I think when I stop enjoying going in March and April and doing the stuff behind the scenes, when I'm tired of doing that, then it's probably time for me to hang him up.
Chris gives me a hard time. He says the Panthers are my NFC team. You gave me his Sam Mills, the late great Sam Mills helmet in my office. So I've watched, I think, every game you've played with Carolina. And when Sarah mentioned your 13th season, there was a time where I wondered if you were going to walk away, because it seemed like you had the worst injury luck. Is you have a foot injury and then you're playing really well and it gets re-aggravated. I'm curious for you mentally, did you ever consider, you know what, I've made Pro Bowls, been to a Super Bowl, done great things, and how frustrating it was for you to deal with that repeatedly over a few years as you were?
Yeah, I think what was so hard about it was I went so long with no problems, relatively no problems. Never missed a game for 10 seasons. And then in 2017, second game of the season, break your foot. And then from that point on, it was like I fell off a cliff. I went, had surgery, came back at the end of the season, was able to play fairly well. We made the playoffs, lost to New Orleans. Came back the next year, first game of the season, first quarter against Dallas, just running a routine route, break it again. Came back, tried to battle through that, then got plantar fasciitis, ruptured my plantar. So like my right foot was just a complete, it was a struggle there for a while. But I did. I considered, is this enough? Is this kind of the writing on the wall that my career is over? I've had a great run. I've achieved a lot of things personally and collectively as a team. But once I kind of stopped feeling sorry for myself and that wore off in the offseason, I was like, I got a lot still left that I want to do. I know I can play at a high level if I can just keep my foot intact. And so far this year, that's what's happened.
Another guy going through the same struggle. Guy's been very, very successful. Former MVP, former Heisman Trophy. That's Cam Newton. Rumored is he's going to come back after the bye week and start practicing. But when you go from being with one of the best quarterbacks in the game to a very inexperienced quarterback, let our audience know some of the things that you have to adjust to for that young player to be successful, things that you do to help him out game in, because he's been successful, and typically young quarterbacks aren't successful in this league.
Yeah, and I've been on the record a million times over the years that Cam is probably one of, if not the best thing that ever happened to my career. Coming from Chicago to Carolina and playing with him the last 8-9 years has, elevated my game and my, what I've been able to achieve is a big part due to him. The fortunate part about playing so long together and having so many practice reps and game reps is Cam and I kind of learned to think alike. I knew how he saw the field. He understood what I would do on certain routes. Now you enter a young guy like Kyle, there's so much more conversation. You can only get so many reps during the week. You can only do so many on-field reps, but there's a lot of clips that, he jokes every week. Cam and I bring up clips of things we've done in the past. He's like, you guys have tape for every situation. I said, well, we're fortunate that we had that, but now I want you to be able to see some of these things that have happened when you weren't around, because we want to make sure we're ready, because we might only get one crack at it on Sunday. And we got to make sure we do the work on the front end, so if it does show itself, we take advantage of it. Not, hey, next time. There might not be a next time. And I think with a young quarterback like Kyle, it's on some of the other guys to just have that open communication and dialogue to get to learn what he sees, what's he comfortable with, because not all quarterbacks are the same, regardless of their experience level. They all see things and process things a little different.
Well, and it's interesting because I was part of the Fox broadcast in that Arizona Cardinals game, and the first thing Kyle Allen said, he said, Greg has been my security blanket. He said he sat down with me extra hours watching so much film. What's your anticipation for when Cam does get healthy and comes back, the way that Kyle Allen's playing, the decision that the team needs to make of what they're going to do with that position?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we all understand that's the elephant in the room, right? That's the kind of the weird situation that we're in, is we have a MVP caliber quarterback who just hasn't been healthy, and it kills you to see him. He walks around every day. He's at the facility, and you can just see, I can only imagine, I've been there, where you just aren't right. So I have a ton of sympathy. I totally understand where he is and that feeling of not being out there with your guys when he's a guy that's not used to missing much time either. And but again, now Kyle's doing a great job. I think that decision will be made once Cam is back, once he's at practice and he feels like himself, because at the end of the day, we want Cam. We don't want just Cam battling through 100 things. We want Cam healthy on the field so he can play. He's different than everybody else. He's going to run. He's going to try to run a linebacker over. He's going to try to get himself going. He thrives off that. And when he couldn't do that, he wasn't himself. And I think the biggest thing that he understood and the team understood was, let's take a step back, get healthy, get myself put back together where I can go out and play to the level that people have seen me play for 8 years now. And think once we get to that point, then the decision will be made.
And credit to Kyle Allen for playing well during this stretch. You guys are undefeated, and I think people, if they're watching from afar, they say, oh, they lost 9 straight, including last year with Cam, won 5 straight with Kyle Allen. If you're watching closely, Kyle has played well. But the other things that's happened is that defense, led by, at least partially led by Gerald McCoy, Luke's probably always the leader, has been outstanding. And if a running back is going to win a league MVP again, it might be the guy you guys have. Christian McCaffrey, when you guys drafted him his rookie year, it felt like they were almost trying too hard to get him the ball, like repeatedly. Now, you can't get him the ball enough. Tell us about his progression and what is special about him as a player.
Yeah, so when he was a rookie, we had Jonathan Stewart, who was kind of our bell cow for a long time, took us to the Super Bowl a year or two before. He was kind of our workhorse type back, and then Christian was seen as like the change of pace type guy. And what was hard was, in that kind of situation with a guy like Christian, he's a volume guy, and that's what's rare about him versus some of these other real dynamic athletic guys is, you know, they play 50-60% of the snaps. Christian's going to play 99% of the snaps, because the more volume he gets, the better he is. And I think that's what separates him from maybe some of the other guys. And as a rookie, if he was in the game, it was to get the ball. Well, if I'm a defense, that's really easy to scheme for, and that's really able to defend. As we kind of evolved the last 2 years now, where he's just on the field at all times, he is a nightmare. I can only imagine what these coordinators must do, because he's not just a great runner who you can throw the ball to. He is an equally dynamic receiver as he is a runner, which maybe Kamara, maybe there's 1 or 2 guys in the league like that, but most guys are runners first. We'll throw him a screen, we'll throw him a check, we'll throw him and let him run after. Christian's out there running bang eights, he's running posts, he's running options out of the backfield. He's just a rare, unique guy, and then you add the volume he's able to absorb. I mean, if any running back's ever going to dethrone the quarterback movement that we're going against in the NFL, I mean, he's got to be at the top of the list, right?
You're a workout warrior. You take care of your body. You're a phenomenal athlete. Always have been. High school, elite athlete, college, University of Miami, went to Chicago, been successful there in Carolina. Make a list for me. I want you to make a list of the 5 most athletic teammates that you had. Those Miami days, with all those players. And you just talked about a couple that you played with recently in Carolina. Your list of the top 5 guys that you've played with. Best athletes.
Number 1, Sean Taylor. I mean, obviously tragic situation with what happened to him and losing his life so early, especially in his career, his life. Sean
Taylor was the leading rusher in the state of Florida as a tailback.
So I'll tell you a little story. When I got to Miami as a freshman, I was a redshirt. My first time ever breaking the huddle as a scout team tight end, break the huddle, turn around. 9 first-round draft picks of the 11 starters on that first team defense. This was 2003. Sean Taylor was one of those. I'll never forget. I went back to my dorm and I said, Dad, this was not what it was in New Jersey.
You called Dad?
I grew up in New Jersey. I said, Dad. Hey, he said, how's everything going? I said, oh, it's great. It's beautiful. It's sunny. I said, these guys are really good. I don't know if I'm ever going to play here, but it's going to be fun. Yeah. And Sean Taylor has to be probably at the top of that list. He was 6'3", 6'4", 235 pounds. Could return punts, could be gunner. He was unbelievable. Devin Hester, both a college and professional
teammate played with him in Chicago.
Yep. So he's a guy that jumps off at me. You got to throw Christian in there. He's just a rare. I think people don't give him enough credit for just how athletic he is.
And most of that's because he's white.
Yep.
That's it.
Thank you.
Same
White guys can't say it. No, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm not on that list.
Yeah.
But that's the 100% part of it.
No, white guys can't say that. Black guys can say that.
He's a unique.